So it's really nice to be here today. I am co-hosting this video with the wonderful Lyons. So welcome to the show and please tell everybody who you are.
Thank you. Well, my name is Winder Lyons, as you've mentioned, and with Touchstone Essentials. And we have these, the focal point of our discussion today are the two zeolite products that we have.
Yeah.
It's something I've been dealing with off and on for the last 15, 16 years.
Fabulous. So we're hoping to learn a lot from you then. So fantastic. Okay, so I thought I would start with the question that I get as a response to when I talk about it quite often. I don't need it. Nothing wrong with me. I don't have any toxins in my body. So if you could just address that to start with, why do we need zeolites and more especially pure body?
Okay, so I saw there's a study out recently where they found Teflon in the blood work of polar bears.
Yeah.
Now let that sink in for just a minute. There's no place on this planet that does not have a toxic burden, period. End of story. And if you live in any sort of industrialized country where you have toxins that are routinely in air, food, water, household cleaning products, personal care items. Well, here's another for instance. If we outlawed leaded gasoline, what, 60 years ago, but there's still leaded jet fuel.
Yeah.
So we have this toxic rain. I mean, I would suggest you go to the Environmental Working Group's website.
Yes.
And look at what the truth of it is, and then go to the Keep Abreast Foundation and look at their research, because they're suggesting that 90% of all breast cancer is a direct result of toxins or made worse by toxins. Mm-hmm. So if somebody is really unaware, and then go to that wonderful Red Cross study that showed the carcinogens in umbilical cord blood everywhere in the world. So we have children being born with a toxic burden, and if you're not aware of that, you have too many mercury fillings.
So because mercury is supposed to make you mad, yes. But the study actually proved around the world, so it wasn't just in America or China, that there was at least 200, this was 10 years ago, 200 carcinogens or toxins in the umbilical cord of newborn babies, basically. So these babies were being born with 200 at least all around the world. So
it's more now.
Yeah. Well, I did this research a long time ago, but even so, it's really frightening. So when people say to me, I don't have toxins, it's like, well, yes, you do.
Yeah, you do. There's 80,000 chemicals in common use in this country and the world that are available for us to absorb. And the combinations of what happens when those chemicals get together, there's no studies, there's no research. And if you listen to what reputable doctors and scientists these days are saying, generally the consensus is beginning to be that 80 to 90% of all illness, all disease, all conditions are the result, are caused by toxicity, or at least made worse by toxicity. Toxins are I consider toxicity the real plague of this age. If 90% of everything that's wrong with us can be traced to a toxin, and someone is not aware that that's true or that that's a problem, they might want to check it out.
Yeah, and I interviewed Eddie just recently, and he said the problem is you just can't see them or smell them. So lots of people are really unaware. But I agree with what you just said. So why would you say is Pure Body and Pure Body Extra more effective than other in inverted commas equivalent products?
Well, several reasons. First of all, most of the products that you encounter in the marketplace are not organic. They are chemicals that are grown in labs. They're artificial. And there's no study that's ever been done on the chemical in human health. The only studies that show the efficacy of zeolites have been done on the organic product, the rock. And in nature, as in your body, zeolites will attract and bind toxins. That's what they do. So, and the mine that Eddie draws our zeolites from, the zeolite is so pure that the government said he could put it out just without cleaning it. But Eddie is so meticulous and wants to give us peace of mind and surety. So he has every batch cleaned and the independent results published. So there's never a question that this is what we are saying that it is. And it is, and he's a genius. He created this idea, came up with the idea of nanosizing the zeolite, so that the two versions we have, one is engineered to stay in the gut and cleans the biome and helps balance the pH and gets all the chunks out of your gut flora that aren't supposed to be there. And the other is this nano-sized miraculous thing that goes everywhere in the body that water goes, and zeolites are inert. It's just a dumb rock. And when you ingest it, either the liquid or the spray that absorbs, uh, it will go everywhere that water goes, which is literally everywhere. And whenever it encounters a positively charged toxin, this negatively charged mineral attracts, binds, and you excrete it in 4 to 6 hours. There is no cell in your body that has an uptake port for zeolites. It cannot stay in your body. It is not reabsorbed anywhere. Neither is its toxic load. They're done. They're gone. So it's the best chelating agent we've ever found or heard of.
Absolutely. And what about the other products on the market then?
Well, a lot of times, as I said, they're chemicals. They're grown in the lab. They're inferior. They're not as strong. There's no science suggesting that they're as good. They do work sometimes. There are products out there that will remove things, just not as much or as safely or as, we just don't know all the long-term. Well, I doubt that zeolite is going to do any harm in any way to anybody, but a chemical is not organic. It's not natural, and it doesn't have the same strength or capacity.
Okay, brilliant. And obviously now we are in this pandemic. So how can zeolites, if they can, work with viruses?
Zeolites and pathogens and viruses, it's a fascinating conversation. And by the way, I am sitting on a ball. If you notice me bouncing, it's not you, it's me. So zeolites, in what they do is they don't attack anything, they don't kill anything, they're inert. They don't do that. However, if a virus or certain cancer cells or pathogens have a protective shielding that is a positively charged substance, the zeolites will bind and attract and remove that. Then it's your body's own immunity that does its job. And so we have I have an abstract from a study that shows that zeolites interrupt viral replication. So while there's no study that I've ever heard of with zeolites and COVID, I personally am pretty comfortable taking it, a lot of it, that it's giving me a layer of protection that the average bear just doesn't have.
Yeah, and also, the train of thought that I follow is if you're already taking out the heavy metals and your body is functioning better when you meet a virus or you have any issues like that of that nature, your immune system will be stronger in order to fight it. So there's no downside to taking zeolites because they allow your body to function in a way that keeps you healthier.
Yes. We're unburdening ourselves. That's one of the things that people notice first about zeolites when they start taking them, is that they have more energy. Well, if you think about the process of our body will protect us by storing toxins. They wrap it in fat and put it in a cell. That's an energetically very expensive process. You have to build a firewall, you have to maintain a firewall, you have to repair the firewall, you have to communicate with it. And when that burden is gone, your energy levels will go up, your attitude, you'll feel better, your outlook brightens, sleep patterns improve. Those are things that are common, uh, you know, when people start using these miraculous minerals.
Yeah, and also, one of the things that I get asked a lot is, well, what can it help? And it's like, well, if you just take the endocrine system, so your hormones, which are to do with fertility, they're to do with mood, they're to do with weight, they're to do with lots of different aspects of your health. They're so delicate and they're so finely balanced. And then you take in this mucky soup of lead and cadmium and mercury and all these other things. And these toxins love to interfere. What they do in any system is they tell the body that the system is working whilst they're switching off the system. So people say to me, why can't I get pregnant? Well, let's try detoxing your body, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
you've got some emotional stuff that we need to look at too, which is different. But if we detox your body, it'll be working so much better. So any immune system issues, a lot of people right now are not sleeping. I think it might be to do with what's
Yep.
going on politically rather than, but yeah, I've definitely had a lot of people saying it really helped them to sleep. It got rid of the brain fog. Energetically, they were well, that was my story as well. I just didn't need to sleep in the afternoon anymore. And I've been on this for quite some time. It was like, wow, that's really different. But also, I think, when you're in a state of ill health, sometimes you don't know what's wrong with you. And it's not until after you've taken out the problem that you're like, oh, I was really ill. But I
Mm-hmm.
just, you just get on with it, don't you, when you really ill.
Well, one of the things you touched on, I think, needs amplification. And there's a chemical that has been identified in the last 20, 30 years called obesogens.
Yeah, I know, I learned that word recently. Yeah.
And obesogens generally are a class of chemical like Teflon, fire retardants, some heavy metals. And the result of having obesogens is that they disrupt lipid metabolism. So even if you want to lose weight, if you're burdened with obesogens, you cannot. You can't let go of fat. It stops that from happening. So when you use the zeolites and you get all the obesogens out, people tell me they lose weight on the zeolites and it mystifies them. Why would I lose weight with a mineral?
Well, because.
You know, you're stopping that lipid metabolism problem. And when your body stores toxins in fat, it won't release them till the toxin is no longer a threat. So if you detox the toxin, there's no reason for the extra fat and it just melts.
Well, and also, if you're overweight and you suddenly start running or you suddenly start really losing, the problem that you get then is the toxins do get released as the fat cells, if they're able to be released, get released. So often it's quite a painful thing to do to suddenly be flooded with all these toxins that have been sequestered in your body. Yeah. So,
Yep.
yeah, very good for people who are trying to lose weight. So one of the questions that I get asked all the time is, how do I know it's working? I think we've addressed it a little bit, but let's talk a bit to that.
Well, I'll give you a story. I had a friend who was a smoker, and for 55 years, it's a long time, 1 to 3 packs a day. And 5 years before he started taking the two zeolites, he quit smoking. For the first 3 weeks after he started taking it, his pee stank of nicotine
No.
and then quit.
Wow.
So it doesn't matter what you've done, how long you've done it. Now that's an obvious way to know. We also had a situation with a 2.5-year-old little boy who had never spoken and said his first words after his first dose.
Wow.
So if you have an issue that's heavy metal related, sometimes results can happen very quickly, but most often people don't notice much
Yeah.
at first because detoxification is like peeling an onion. It's taken us years to get into the shape we're in. This is not a drug where you're going to have an instant drug response. This is a process where over time you'll notice changes if you take notes at the beginning. So write down everything that's going on with you physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually right now. Because in 3 months, if a bunch of things have changed slowly, gradually, you will not have noticed till you go back and look at your list and go, oh yeah, that's gone, that's gone, that's gone.
Yeah.
So it's the process, it's not a reaction.
Absolutely. And when I think of, sometimes when I was able to do in-person sessions, which clearly I can't at the moment because we're all stuck at home, but I would say to people sometimes, bring in your drugs, and they'd come with these huge bags of, different kinds of drugs. And what we say is, like, the first one is for the symptom, the second one is for the side effects of the first one, the third one, by
Right,
the time you get to the third one, your body doesn't know what to do with it because they're all mixing
right.
and matching. And often some of these drugs that we're taking that are prescribed by the healthcare professionals have horrible stuff in them. And so when I get someone who's bringing in a huge suitcase of drugs, it's like, okay, start with this. Let's just start and see how you do. I'm not going to in any way tell you to come off your drugs, or you need to do that with your doctor, but at least we can start getting some of the nasties out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm 75 years old, and I'm one of the few veterans my age in the whole VA system on no medication.
Wow. Yeah.
And I never, when I first went in for my uptake to the VA, the guy said, "Okay, I want a list of your meds," and I said, "I'm not on any," and he went, "What?"
What?
So it's a common and serious problem. We are not treating symptoms with chemicals. Drug companies are not looking for cures, they're looking for customers.
Yeah.
And this is a different process. This is cleaning out to help you reboot to blueprint. This is getting you back to homeostasis.
And
This has,
there's an element of self, responsibility too. If we put you on a detox on these amazing products, you can't then go and have 20 Krispy Kreme donuts. You know what I mean? You have to also help
damn
the
it.
body and change the way you think. But that's what I do in my healing work. But for certainly for getting the body functioning the way it was supposed to, yeah,
Yep.
this is the second to none. Okay. So then people say to me, how long do I need to take it for?
Only as long as you're alive.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty simple. Why do you need to take it for continually over a long period of time?
Well, okay, so it's one thing to get the toxic burden that you have now out, but what's going to stop it from regrowing? Are you going to stop breathing, where we get lots, stop eating, stop drinking, stop using household cleaners, personal care items? If they're finding Teflon in the blood work of polar bears, hello, you know, this is a real issue that we live in the most toxic burden of anybody in history. I read something a couple of months ago. Somebody had estimated that if you take a 2-hour car trip today, you've encountered more toxins than your grandparents did in their whole life.
That's insane.
And there's 80,000 chemicals available in the use right now by industry, and no studies have been done on hardly any of them, and no studies have been done on what happens when those things combine and form new things that have never been here before.
I
So
think.
if you think
Sorry.
you think you can get by without cleaning your body, you have definitely been sniffing too much mercury.
So yeah, I think I saw that it was 1,700 of those 80,000 have actually been tested, possibly on animals, not even on humans. But it's about what they do when they combine together. It's like a big bomb going off in your system. Your
Yeah,
system
it's
just
just
goes into
awful.
panic. Yeah, yeah.
But we can deal with it. We have the means.
Well, I came up with the phrase, we have the solution to your body's pollution. I love that.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, so maybe we should introduce these products. So I have an example here. So the first one I want to talk about is Pure Body, and this is is it 0.4 microns? I'm not very good at figures, but basically it's designed to clean out your gut. And we know that, so stay within the digestive system. And we know that a lot of immune system illnesses, fatigue, and lots of things like that occur in the gut. So this is, you take 4 drops 3 times a day in water, or you can take it without water, but
I like the idea of taking it in water because that makes sure you're drinking enough water.
Yeah, because this is a detox product and we
So
need to keep
you
our
have to flush.
detox.
Yeah.
And then the second one, the one that he was talking that Eddie has, where's the front there? Eddie has miraculously invented. This is amazing. So he's micronized it so it's suspended in water. So you spray it in your mouth. It tastes of nothing at all. So I prefer taking this one because it's easier, but it's 100 times more powerful than this one. So you can take them together. Absolutely,
Yes.
because one's in your gut and one's going everywhere else. If you're super, super, super toxic, like you really know that you've been exposed to mega toxins, I would say don't, sorry, this is 4 sprays 3 times a day, and this is 4 drops 3 times a day. So what we recommend is you probably would want to start on maybe 1 or 2 drops of each 3 times a day, so that you're getting a certain level within your body. And then if that's okay for a few days, maybe go up to 3 drops 3 times a day until you're comfortable. I know when I started doing it, I was full on, because that's the kind of person I am, ridiculous sometimes. But I felt like I'd been run over by a bus for about a week. And that was because they sprayed DDT when I was growing up, and I inhaled that, and it caused many, many problems when I was growing up, and I had lots of issues. But generally, well, I think, why do you recommend doing both at once? Is that right?
Yeah, I do. And I recommend exactly what you said. Start slow and work your way up. I recommend that you work your way up till you feel uncomfortable. Then back down slightly, stay there for a few days, and then work your way up till you start feeling uncomfortable again. And keep doing that process till you find the level that's right for you and your body. It's going to be different for everybody. There's no one size fits all. General parameters are 4 drops and 4 sprays 3 times a day. That's ample for anybody unless you have a real high toxic exposure to something in your early life that needs more attention. But one way or the other, whether you do it quickly or whether you do it slowly over time, it will handle all of those issues.
Which is perfect. And for me, it was just the easiest way to detox. I tried liver cleanses, I tried juicing, I tried everything, and always been really, really ill because I had a really high toxic load. This, once I got the levels right and I wasn't quite so gung-ho, then it does it for you. It's just so fantastic. But I love your idea of writing down everything that's wrong with you to start with, because it does happen over time and it is a progressive thing. And some of the time when I was say a year into it, I'd look back and I'd go, wow, I'm really much better, but I don't think I appreciated when I was in the illness how ill I really was. So
Yeah, that's common. That's just the way it happens.
yeah. Okay, so what about if people want to share this, talk about a little bit about that, please.
Well, I think that for me, this is so good that I have, I think, an obligation to share it with everybody that I care about. Now, how they respond is not up to me.
Yeah.
Gandhi said, do the best you can with this moment, leave the results to God. So once you have done the best you can, you have to let it go. And if they step up, that's great. If they don't, it's not on you. You've done the best you can. I think when love is stronger than fear, this becomes easy. When you care more than you're afraid, it's not a problem. But I just tell the truth. And I always lead with science, especially with health professionals.
Yeah.
I give them the studies. I give them the white papers so they can understand the mechanism of action. And the way the business part works, it works in whatever way is comfortable for you. If you don't want to receive any benefit from sharing it, then you can just be a customer and tell people. If you want to earn enough to cover your own product sales, you can be a rep or a VBO and earn a little bit just to cover your own costs. If you choose to do it as a major income stream, that's available also. So it's very comfortable. There's never any pressure. There's never any, you don't ever have to be on an auto ship, for instance, that sort of thing. It's a very non-predator company. But for those who like this idea and want to do it on a large scale, the compensation model is very generous and can create whatever level of income you choose, literally whatever level you choose.
And I just want to add to that, as we're all at home and some people have lost their incomes, this may well be something that you would want to look at, because it can help so many people.
Yep.
I love this product. I think it's
get me a stay-at-home mom. Find me someone with a tiger in her tank and no place to go, and I'll show her how she can change her family's fortunes forever.
Absolutely. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, everyone. I'm going to put my link below this video. Wanda, how can they get hold of you if they want to?
Well, I have a website that is just information only, and it's www.realzeal.life. And if you put that up there, and if they need to get a hold of me, they can do Winder, WINDER, at creekflow.com, and I'll respond.
Lovely. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. Thanks ever so much for your time.
This is wonderful. Thanks.
Really enjoyed it.
Be well, everyone.
Yeah. Bye now.